Hey everybody, it's me again. It's Mark Wiggins. I'm the host of the show Off the Bench with Mark Wiggins. And today we have with us Liletta Harlem. Liletta is a multifaceted, multi-talented, hardworking, 37-stream revenue maker type person, counselor, teacher, TV producer. But you all know I don't do bios. I just kind of talk about them a little bit, but I'm going to turn it over to Liletta. Liletta, how you doing, girl?
I am doing great. Excited to be on your show today.
Awesome. Thank you for having the home and home. I was on your show a little bit ago, and here you are on the Off the Bench show. It's awesome. So
Yeah.
tell the people who you are and how you got to this moment right now.
Sure. So as you mentioned, I'm Liletta Harlem, and basically I have several hats that I'm wearing. I'm an empowerment coach, so I've been doing that for a number of years, and I'm an author of one published book, one that's coming out in August. So I'm excited about that. And then I also make unique special boxes for those that are going through various events and occasions in life. So yeah, I have my hands pretty full.
Nice. Oh, tell me more about the book and the one coming out. What's the title? What's it about?
Absolutely. So the first book is Celebrating a Legacy of Courage and Resolve. And that book is basically all about the stories of my grandmother, my mom, and my aunt, and what they went through just in life, from everything from domestic violence to sexual assault to kidnapping, just a lot of different things. My grandmother, going through segregation, just the different things they went through.
Mm-hmm.
And what really prompted me to want to write this book is watching them one day, especially my grandmother. I was watching her and I was looking and admiring her strength. And it just dawned on me that, in some communities, they're not necessarily geared to be able to pass on physical tangible legacies, right? Like property and houses and things like that. But what I wanted to do was show my grandmother, my mother, my aunt, as well as others in the community, that they do pass on something that's of great value, perhaps even greater value than some of those physical things. And that's that courage, that strength, that grit that many of us, when we look back at our parents, our aunties, and different ones in our family, we can say, yeah, they really went through a lot. So that really prompted me to want to write this book. And my first goal was just to write it to honor them. And I was like, you know what, if anybody gets it, great, but at least they'll feel honored and respected. And when I tell you just the feedback, the response, the purchases, people are starting conversations in their own families. And it's just really been above and beyond the measure of success that I expected from it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now you mentioned courage and stuff. So usually when people talk about that, they come through some stuff. So it's like you got a story you want to share. You want to share some of your story so we can get a better understanding of who you are.
Absolutely. And, so in that book, I talk a little bit about my story, and that kind of segues into my second book, which the second book is called I Can Fix My. And obviously, it's kind of a catchphrase. Everyone talks about fixing your own crown. But the whole purpose of this book was I wanted to share my own personal experience of going through depression and the many different places that depression has taken me, from to suicide attempts in my life, to needing therapy, to just so many different challenges. And what I wanted to do was really capture what the journey looks like, but really to focus on how you can heal through some of the different traumatic experiences that you've gone through. For me, it was, some trauma in my childhood. And then my first marriage was abusive. So it was just a lot of different things that caused this trauma that led to a lot of depression for me. So I talk about that in the second book. And like you said, going through it, you recognize others that have gone through it and the strength that they have when they kind of come out on the other side. So I wanted to make sure to capture that.
Awesome. Awesome. And where can people get your book? Your website, or is it on Amazon? Where is it?
Yes. So you can go to Amazon. You can actually look up my name, Liletta Harlem. That's Liletta Harlem. But you can also get everything that I have on my website, which is lilettaharlem.com. So by searching my name, you can find it. But yeah, everything is on my website, lilettaharlem.com.
Nice, nice. Now, in your bio, it talked about you had a TV show you produced and all that. What was that show about? So it was a very popular show for a few years. What was that about?
Yeah. So back in the day, I actually had my own TV series. It was on airing in public access in Fairfax, Virginia, and in Baltimore. And basically, it was called Big Sis and Company, focused on the issues. And it was a talk show format. And I got to interview so many different people and highlight different things that were going on in the community. So people who were poets, who were chefs, who had written books, who were entertainers. I was one of the first ones to interview the youngins may remember, but Mindless Behavior was a young group out. I was one of the first shows that got to interview them. So
Oh,
just,
wow.
it was really exciting time, but it really made an impact in the community because I focused on exactly that, the issues that we all face, especially in this area and kind of local to some of the people that I'm used to dealing with.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. TV shows and talk shows, that's a very broad reach to get into that space. And you didn't stay in it long, you just a few years and you went to something else?
Yeah, so I was in it for about 3 years. So when I first kind of entered into the journey of entrepreneurship, I started with a nonprofit called Big Sis and Company.
Okay.
And that was, again, I had come out of an abusive relationship and I wanted it to mean something. I felt like me going through that meant that I had to help other women who went through that. So I started this nonprofit and it was really all about providing resources and training and encouragement for people who were going through domestic violence situations. Well, that blew up and I was able to work with Prince William County and facilitate workshops and do a lot of events and meet some amazing people through my events. The DC Sniper's ex-wife, a couple people who had been on Oprah. I got to really work hand in hand with them. So that was awesome. I developed a TV show. It was going great. But as you know, I always talk about pivots on my series. And I got to a point where I had to make a pivot because I recognized that I was giving out so much. I was pouring myself into everything that I was doing, which was amazing for the community, but I hadn't quite healed and reset myself. And so I took a step away from it, which ended up being about 10 years. And I took a step away to really work on myself, make sure I was grounded emotionally, spiritually, mentally, so that I could then go back into giving back to the community.
Wow. That is a huge pivot. I mean, there's a lot. People always ask the question, where does the motivator go to get motivated? Where do you go to get your self-care? You know what I'm saying? And we often are worst proponents of self-care.
Right.
Giving, and you look up, you have nothing left. So kudos to you for recognizing that and stepping out. Do you think you'll get back to that space, or is it just a chapter that's moved on?
You know what? So I'm slowly getting back to it. So one of the things in the new workshops that I do, which is, again, it's all about pivoting. One of the things I help people do is kind of narrow it down to what's important to you. And when I put myself through this exercise and I looked back over just kind of all the different ventures that I've been involved in, I was able to narrow it down to 3 things that are key components for me, kind of like my value statements, if you will. One thing is honoring family. That is important to me, to make sure that whatever I'm doing is honoring my family, name, legend, however you want to look at it. Number 2 is empowering women. That everything I do, even when I was working on the corporate side, I was involved in women's inclusion groups. I'm always about empowering women. And then 3 is I truly believe that I want whatever experience a person has with me, I want them to walk away refreshed. And I really live by that. So coming to those 3 things, I recognize that I can still do a lot of the things I enjoy doing if I focus on making sure that those 3 things are being accomplished.
Right.
So to answer your question, it kind of went the long way, but I'm still doing a lot of the things. Like I've started back up my workshops. Of course, I have the books. I have a new video series that is on YouTube and social media. So I'm slowly getting back in that space to satisfy those needs that I have to those 3 things. Right. But I certainly won't probably go to the level that I was before just because I want to make sure I stay balanced.
Or until you have to, one of the two.
Exactly. You know how it is.
You know how it is. I just want to do a few things. Yes, here's the 10th show. What happened?
Exactly.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I love it, love it, love it. So now out of this, you're giving, you're helping, you're inspiring, you're encouraging. Your business that you're in now seems to be a natural progression into doing this, and that's Keep the Box. So
yes.
Tell us, give me all the dirt, the scoop, the tea, all of it, how you moved into the space and where you're trying to go with it, what you're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. So it's so funny because, like I said, I'm always giving. And those close to me, they joke with me because they would say, you need to get a hobby. You need to just relax. And so a couple years ago, a couple people in my life were really going through a hard time. And at the time, I knew people would be giving them cards and things like that. And up until that point, I knew I was creative as far as mentally and putting events and things like that together, but I never considered myself crafty. But I wanted to do something for them. I was like, I want to do more than just give a card. I feel like everybody's giving them cards. And I was like, what if I made a box that simply had maybe their favorite scriptures or quotes or whatever on the outside of the box. And then as people gave them cards and letters, they could put it in there. And every time they look at that box, they immediately feel that sense of being encouraged. And so I was like, I'm going to try it. And I just started Googling things and, ordering different crafts and things like that. And so I still was kind of like, this is just not a space I'm normally in, but you know what? These are for two very close people and I'm going to just do it. I put together the boxes. I gave them the boxes and the reaction they had was just they cried, they hugged me, they were so happy. And so I still was like, okay, you know what? I found a hobby. So at the time I was, working in corporate America and I went to work that Monday and I was telling a buddy of mine, I was like, guess who got a new hobby? And he was like, what's your hobby? I showed him the pictures and he was like, Lita, this is really good. You can do this as a business. And I was like, no, don't say that because I finally have a hobby. And he was like, I'm telling you. So it was like a month later that he kept saying because then they told people and somebody was like, can you do a box for my friend? And I was like, oh, this is such a great hobby. And so my buddy at work was like, okay, I'll tell you what, I know you love this hobby you have, but why don't you just make a Facebook page and just see what happens? Man, that thing blew up. It was like, I started getting all these requests and all these requests. I was like, you know what? I guess I have to find a new hobby.
That is a problem for entrepreneur because every hobby is a way to make money. I mean, I don't care what you do. I just like to go fly fishing, but I can make these flies and sell them. Yeah, that's what we do. We always find a way. But good for you.
It really is. It really is. And the interesting thing is, it really started to grow very quickly. And when I say that it's for all of life's occasions, like I've done these custom boxes for everything from retirement to new baby, to loss of loved one, to just simply encouraging to cancer survivors. I think the most unique one was someone lost their pet. And their friend wanted to give them a box that they could put little pictures and things of their pet in. And so, that was fun, creating little doggy stickers and things. So, it's definitely I call it my feel good movement, because that's really what it's all about. Any occasion that could use an extra little bit of feeling good, I create a box for.
Well, do you talk to the clients and build, or you just get a feel for the people just tell you what they like, what they're into, you just build out?
I definitely have to have that consultation with them because that's the way I really capture what they want. So in general, they can go to my website and order, but even once they put the order in, I do a consultation with them to find out, I'll tell you, the majority of times they really don't know what it is they want. They just know how they want the person to feel. And I love that, because if you tell me what you want that emotion to be, then I always say, let me do the hard work, right? So I have the consultation. They tell me what the person means to them or what the occasion means to them, what feeling they want, and then I take it from there.
Jeez. And so how is it now with COVID and everybody's at home and, we're tired of everything normal? How's business right now?
It's honestly, it's been really steady. It's been
Mm.
really steady. As a matter of fact, I've got a few orders that I need to get out that I'm a little behind on, to be honest.
That's because you got 18 other things to do later. You got
Well,
18
yeah, and even though I'm enthusiastic about it, to your point, like even just getting things delivered has slowed down, and things that I need to make the boxes. So
hmm
there is a little bit of a delay there, but you know what? It's been going pretty well, and I still work to support my dreams and passions. So that's been still going on. But yeah, it's been pretty steady.
That's what's up. Now, what do you anticipate your company going in this movement that you call it in the next 3 to 5 post-COVID situation? What do you see?
Well, I actually have a project that I'm working on. I cannot release it yet. I'm hoping that it'll
Girl, ain't
come.
nobody been on song. Nobody listen to my show.
That just means they gotta stay tuned, and you'll have me back when it's
All
released.
right, fair
I'm
enough. Go
hoping.
ahead.
I'm hoping for it to come out in October.
Okay.
And it's going to be I really feel like it's going to be my baby, and it's a particular type of box that I'm really going to be working on. And obviously, people love just getting the variety of boxes that I do, but I really want to focus on this particular box that I'm creating and working with a couple other people on. So that is going to be I really feel like Keep the Box is going to kind of go into and the next level with that, and also just partnering with other people to even see how much, branding. I've been doing some of that. So I'd like to get to that
Mm,
space a little
mhm,
more.
mhm.
I have probably 3 clients that I do branded boxes for them. So I actually get their logo on the box, and they use it as like a thank you or first time customer type of thing.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So I look to get even more in that space too.
Yeah, that's interesting. It sounds a lot like what's gift giving. Number one, that industry is huge.
Yeah.
If you knew anything about me, I used to own a cookie store here in Northern Virginia area,
Yeah.
way back, and gift giving was crazy. I mean, we're making hand designed cookie bouquets out of
Yeah.
cookies, right?
Yeah.
So they calling, they said, her hair is red, she likes favorite color is blue, and da da.
Yeah.
And so you've made this one of a kind, literally
Yeah.
one of a kind piece of cookie art, and
Yeah.
delivering. People are excited about it, and it was fun. It was a lot of work, very labor intensive.
Yeah.
But the recipients were always just floored by the thought that went into it to making that box, and the gift that the person who gave it gets like elevated for being so thoughtful.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
get it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So now, what else you got going on with you? Anything specialized projects not related to the Keep Box? You said you're moving back into some other spaces for trainings and
you. Yes.
workshops. Talk about those.
Yes, absolutely. So, as I mentioned before, one of my core things that I always come back to is empowering women. So, when I started doing these boxes and I started seeing how many people were ordering boxes to encourage other women who were
Mm,
down going through something, that drive started again. And I first made a box which was called My Natural Me, and it was just all about, really geared to encouraging women specifically. But it wasn't enough for me. It didn't quite scratch the itch. And I was like, you know what? I have to do more with this My Natural Me brand. So now My Natural Me brand, which I'm so passionate about, it really is all about empowering women and educating women to be able to love themselves and to think about the legacy that they're leaving to other women.
hmm
And so with that, I've done workshops already, which have been awesome workshops. And so I'm continuing in that space, and I've developed a new presentation, which is Pivotal Moments, which kind of goes hand in hand with my video series.
hmm
And again, it's all about, my belief is that we typically have inside of us exactly what we need to get through hard times, because many of us have gone through times, or we've seen, like I mentioned earlier, our families go through certain challenges. So what my goal is through these workshops and presentations is to help women tap into things they've done before, strength in that inner strength that they have, so that no matter what challenges come, they can feel empowered and they can get through those challenges successfully.
hmm
So, and really my books and all that are kind of under the My Natural Me brand. It's all about that movement to empower women to feel strong and to love themselves.
Mm. Awesome, awesome. And you're gonna have virtual workshops, or is this a live situation?
Yes, of course, now with everything. So the first two workshops were in person, but of course now everything is migrating to virtual
Hmm.
because of the
Hmm.
times that we're in. So I've actually done a couple virtual ones, and definitely looking forward towards the end of the year doing some more virtual events, workshops, presentations, and of course my Pivotal Moments video, which a lot of people are kind of using as a tool as well to like get empowered and be like, wow, yeah, I see myself in that. Yeah, I can do it. So it's
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
all hand in hand.
Oh, good. That is awesome. That's awesome. Again, but before we leave, though, I know you work in a space where you deal with women in situations that are not good, and they need some support, whether it be abuse, domestic violence, or emotional abuse.
Yeah.
Um, what insight, information, support can you offer to our listeners who may be listening right now that may be in need of some servicing or some support? What would you tell them?
Absolutely. So I really appreciate that you brought up regarding the abuse side because, obviously I take that very, very seriously. And any woman who is in a toxic relationship and they feel any type of abuse, because it's definitely more than just physical and
Hmm.
usually starts with other forms of abuse. I always encourage women to recognize that in general, abuse always escalates. So if they are feeling unsafe or that gut feeling is telling them that something is not right, I encourage you to reach out. You can call the National Domestic Hotline, which is 1-800-799-SAFE. But you could also look into different local places. Even you can reach out to my website, and I can definitely help get you the resources that you need. It may not even be an abusive relationship, but many women, especially, just get into relationships where they don't feel empowered, where they lose their identity. And sometimes it's really just grounding yourself and learning to love yourself to make even those relationships healthier. So I definitely encourage you. You can reach out to my website, and I have a portion on there that says if you would like coaching, if you would like a free coaching call,
Hmm.
you can reach out to me. And again, it's Liletta Harlem, Liletta, and the last name Harlem.
And
So
the
it's
website. And the
yes,
website.
website
Oh,
www.lilitaharlem.com.
Lisa. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
And if you go there, like I said, everything is there. You can order the books there. The second book is like a workbook style. So it's really designed to get you thinking about changing some of these patterns and belief systems. But like I said, I do free coaching call, free 15-minute coaching call to kind of get you, let's see where
Hmm.
you're at. Let's see what your next steps need to be.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for being in that space and providing an outlet for women and children who may need to reach out for your support to get some information, some relief. I know we talked about a lot when people were complaining about being home and whatever, and there's people who didn't want to be home and
Yeah.
were needing that space, and they're
Yes.
now blocked in 24/7 with this person.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that too. So thank
Yeah.
you for being in that space and sharing that.
Absolutely.
Brad, that's awesome. So, okay, so we're gonna wrap down the show again. Thank you for coming on and sharing your passion and your hobby. Soon to be, soon to be mega business TV show, audio podcast,
Exactly.
and on Roku. So, but if you feel free to come back, let me know when your new book comes out and your new project that you want to tell me about, and I would love to hear about it and share with my audience as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to coming back and talking with you and your audience.
All right, all right. Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning in. And as always, always, if you can reach your dreams with a step ladder, then they're probably too low. I'm out. All right, cool. We're done.